Hello everybody. This dress is kind of like a green screen thing going on here outdoors. I wanted to talk a little about addiction again. Sorry about the lawnmower in the background. We can't control everything in life. We can't control a lot of things in life. When you are honest to goodness sober, you have hit rock bottom. You are of a changed mind, a changed spirit, and a changed trajectory. You are honest to goodness, wholeheartedly, 100% in it this time, and intending to stay sober. One day at a time. You're not making any promises to anyone that you can't keep because you know that just puts unnecessary pressure on yourself. But you have true, earnest intention never to use again. And you mean it, and you intend it, and you are doing the actions that follow and back that up, and leading the life, internal and external, that help foster that intention to be able to be carried out, that you are committed, truly committed to a sober lifestyle. But yet the people that surround you are hard to get on board. They may still treat you like they did when you were using. They may brush it off. You've said that before. They may treat you like you are a liar, a cheat. They may not give your words credence, your intention credence. They may not give you any credit or support for what you are doing. They may be completely oblivious to how hard recovery actually is and the effort that you are putting in. At a time in your life when you need support, encouragement, and a pat on your back, as they have been surrounding you and scooping you up and enabling you during the phases of your use, chasing after you, trying to rescue you from yourself. You are surrounded in people hovering over you, concerned about you. And now that you are doing what's right, they may not be there. They may not be there from something that occurred during your use, or they may not be there because they think, well, they're done now, they've got this. And they don't need me, finally, they don't need me chasing after them to save themselves, and you feel abandoned when you want to feel supported, you want to feel congratulated. You have to be able to take a couple of things into consideration when it comes to your family and your friends coming around. Coming to believe your honest intention to recover and stay recovered, stay abstinent, to support you, to give you what you need, to give you what you want. And that is, first and foremost, in order to maintain an addiction, that's why people, when they recover, are completely different people than they were when they were using. Because it's the drug, and what's required to maintain the drug use, not the person choosing these things. It's a requirement of continuing to maintain the addiction that makes you choose things that you otherwise would not choose, act, be, behave, say, do. You are inherently required to maintain a destructive addiction. You have to keep secrets. You have to lie. Sometimes you cheat. Sometimes you steal. You say things you don't mean. Sometimes you say mean things. Sometimes you do mean things. You're very secretive, duplicitous. You lack integrity. And this is all a result of just what you have to do when you are in the active phases of using. And the drug itself may cause you to act in manners and behave in manners that are very disruptive to your child's graduation, a family wedding, your daily life at home in general. You may not have been the best company for a while. You may have tried to recover in earnest in the past, and you may have relapsed numerous times. That doesn't take away from the earnestness of your attempts, even if others believe that it does. Oh yeah, we've heard that before. What you have to understand is, although your character and your behavior during your usage phase is not representative of who you actually are and what you're actually about, people outside of you, especially normies who have no familiarity with addiction and use and everything, they don't understand. But in general, people can only see and know what we say, what we do externally. They can't read our intentions. They don't understand the dynamics of using. They don't understand why you're doing what you're doing. All they see is what you're doing, what you're saying, how you're behaving, how you're being. So all they do have to go on is your historical reputation. And that historical reputation was built up during the course of your use. It took time to establish this misrepresentation of who you actually are. It took time of you lying, even though you were forced in a position where you had to maintain an addiction. You were unable to stop at that time. Lying, stealing, being mean, being disruptive, being neglectful, all the other things that come with use. You did those things. Forgiveness doesn't come automatically. Even when you decide to do the right thing, it doesn't come automatically. It takes time. It takes time. You have to take ownership. Not so much ownership that you feel tremendous guilt and shame and weight on yourself of the things you did when you were using, that you carry that on your back, and it drags you down to the point where you are so low, shameful, guilty that you can't stand to look at yourself, because you'll be driven to use again if you can't stand to live with yourself. What's done is done. It's over. It's in the past. And it was due not because of your character. It was due because of your situation with your addiction. It's not representative of who you are. However, those around you could only see what you did, what you said, how you behaved for however long you were in that position. And say your partner cheats on you. They've broken your trust. They've lied to you. All of those things. How long is it going to take you to forgive them? Even if they legitimately intend never to do it again. It's not. You may be able to say, I forgive you, I accept you, I believe you, but actions speak louder than words. And the person who has done the things has to take accountability, enough accountability, recognition is a better word, recognition. That's where the making amends step comes in. Recognition of the things that you have done. not glorification. The drunk logs, glorifying the things you did when you were using or drinking. Accountability. Responsibility. Because those things impacted other people. And those other people are the other people that you want to come back into your life. That's where the amends step comes in, and you make amends for the things that you can, to the people that you can, unless it would otherwise hurt them. You wouldn't have to do that if just like magic, even though you know inside you've turned a corner and you're back to who you were before you started, and you're going to grow into who you can be. And you're not going to do those things again. You're not going to cheat again. You're not thinking the same. You're not in the same place, and you would never go back. It's going to take time. You can't talk them into believing you, because you've talked them into believing a bunch of lies in the past. You've talked them into deception. You've talked them into manipulation in the past. This is what they know of you. So focus on your program. That's why they have programs, NA and AA, because you're with a group of people, because you do need support to attempt this monumental and amazing thing you were doing of sobriety. But more often than not, it takes time and actions. The proof is in the pudding. To see the change in you, to see you following through, to see your integrity, to see your intentions, to see the behavior change, to see the integrity change, to see the activity change, to see the commitment in action. Let your outcomes speak for you. Have patience. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. Have empathy and accountability enough to understand that the things you did during your usage, although they weren't because of you and who you really are, they were a requirement to maintain your use, had an impact. These things happened, and they had an impact on other people. And they caused you to develop a reputation that is unbecoming of you. And no matter what you try to say now, your words are not worth their weight, because you were forced in a position where you had to lie and manipulate, and you break promises. And now you have to just focus on yourself, on your sobriety. Get involved in a program with other addicts so that you have a group of people that you can see regularly that completely understand where you're coming from. And I also suggest going to open Al-Anon family of meetings, so you can understand too where the family of is coming from, even if it's caustic and can be a little hard to take. You might want to dabble first before your understanding comes together, because a lot of addicts don't appreciate the impacts. They don't appreciate that no one understands them except another addict. And they want their family and friends to understand them and understand where they're coming from and support them, especially when they're legitimately recovering. And sometimes they don't anymore. Sometimes they walked away and they won't come back for a while. And they don't believe you. And you want to be believed and understood. And yet, despite how dysfunctional the family of can become themselves, how caustic and dysfunctional, they too are seeking understanding. They want to be understood. And an addict doesn't appreciate often that the other side that was impacted through your difficult situation that you endured through your usage just wants to be understood themselves, heard, understood, and they feel like no one gets them, including their connected addict. So exposing yourself to a little bit of what you want out of other people, understanding, compassion, acceptance, support to the other side, especially those that you have impacted. Compassion, understanding, support, by involving in Al-Anon programs here and there, and involving in with your spouse, your children, your parents, whoever, your friendships, whoever you've impacted, having open discussions with them about how you may or may not have impacted them, that you want to understand, and that you are sorry for any ways that you may have been disruptive. Seek understanding for their perspective, even if their perspective is a little whack. Some relatives will never let it go. And there comes a point, just like when a family of an addict has to let go of an addict because they are just dysfunctional and toxic and not intending on recognizing the situation, working on it, to just let them go until they do. Sometimes the addict, after you've given a reasonable amount of time to your nearest and dearest, like a year, I'm talking patience. You have to practice patience. You have to earn this. You have to earn this through your continued action. Don't try to convince people with your words. Let your actions speak for you. You focus on yourself. You focus on your recovery. You will naturally become someone who is considerate, attentive, authentic, honest, committed, doing something with yourself. You will become who you would have been. And you become more of who you could be. You don't have to talk anyone into anything. Who you are, as time goes on, will tell the story. Your actions will speak for you, but you have to have patience. And I say a year, especially depending on how long you used and how many times you've relapsed and gone back, relapsed and gone back, relapsed and gone back. You have to give people, you didn't develop the reputation in a day. You can't expect it to turn around in a day. And you gave discredit to your own words. You can't expect to talk them into it either. Just focus on what you need to do for you to stay sober. If you're lacking the support of your family and friends, and they're not totally toxically negative to you and potentially detrimental to your recovery, because your recovery comes first now, it has to. Get your support from the programs, AA, NA, etc., so that you have people by you that understand and dabble in the other side. And don't just, it works if you work it. How many times you show up in the program and you're just visiting? Maybe you're made to be there. Maybe not. Maybe you chose to show up, but you're just visiting. You listen. Eventually, you listen and you pick things up. Eventually, you work the program and you do more than just sit and listen. You get a sponsor, you work the book, you work the steps, and you become. It's like taking you, when you started using, you were whatever age or stage in your personal development. And usage sort of pauses and freezes time. And then there's this just chaos period for however many weeks, months, years. And then when that stops, you can't just rip a Band-Aid off and leave a vacuum. That's why you plug in your program. And you also don't want to be at 38 if you started at 18, the same person at 38 now that you sobered up. You didn't develop during those years. You developed a whole other set of bizarro skills that was around your addiction, but you didn't develop the normal stuff. So you're still stuck back at like 18, at 38, 48, 58. And the program will take you and make you into who you're supposed to be. Not like mind control or a cult or anything. It's like therapy, the best therapy there is. It will teach you all those steps that you missed if you actually work the program, but you have to get far enough invested and committed to actually work the program, or the less work you put in, the less you get out. So the less you put into your program, the more likely you are to relapse. And if you really are wanting your family on board, the more often that you relapse, the less involved they're going to be each and every time, because they don't want to get their hopes up to have you back in their life and lose you again. It's terrifying for them. So they start to shut off and shift back and hold back, and close that part off because they don't want to hope again, and end up losing you again, and maybe losing you permanently, because addiction is lethal, not just disruptive. So when it comes to your friends and your family, don't go chasing after them. It's a distraction of your time or energy. Don't feel disheartened because they haven't changed, because you changed. They can't see your heart, they can't see your mind, they can't see your intention. They don't know that you've changed your mind. They only know what you've done in the past. And don't feel like this will follow you forever, and so what's the point? They're always going to treat me this way. Also not true. You just have to put your money where your mouth is. You have to put in the work. You have to have the patience, the empathy to understand where they're coming from, the patience to earn their trust back. And all you have to do that is to focus on yourself, actually. Focus on your program of recovery. Put recovery first in your life. And do the things necessary to maintain your recovery. Have patience, understanding, and as you work the steps of the program, you will understand more and more about yourself, more and more about why certain things happened. You'll be able to let go and emotionally calibrate better, and forgive yourself and find yourself, and also understand where everyone else is coming from. The friends and family, you'll be able to sort out what can be sorted out and start a new chapter with time. Let your actions speak for you. Don't focus on trying to change their mind. Focus on trying to stay sober. One day at a time, by doing what you're supposed to do. You know what's truthful. And your actions, your outcome, will develop a new reputation for you, given enough time. Time plus behavior equals reputation. Reputation equals character. And so you don't talk your way into it. You don't chase your way into it. Beg or plead your way into it. You just do you. Focus on what you need to do to stay sober, healthy, whole, and get your support from the support group. Don't try and force them to support you. Although that is best and ideal, try to get them into an Al-Anon program so they understand a little bit more the dynamics of how important it is to be in their own program, that now they got their own issues they need to work on, and how to better be a support to you instead of a disruption to you, and why sobriety has to be your most important part of your life, and etc. But you can't make them do that either, just like they couldn't make you go into recovery until you're ready. You can't make them go into Al-Anon unless they're ready and willing. And then if they're truly toxic, you have to distance yourself from them. And as you go along in your program and time passes, you will develop a new reputation. You will develop as a person. You will develop as the best person you can be. And everyone around you will see this time is different. They will see who you are. They will see who you are becoming. They will see your commitment. They will see your behavior. They will see your action. They will see your reputation. They will see your character develop over time. And they will come back into your life over time at their own pace and comfort level. And eventually, if you stay sober, stay committed, most, not all, and you have to accept that some things in life and some people, and sometimes you have to let go. Most people will come back to you that matter to you when you show them who you are. But that takes time. Be willing to be patient and just focus on your solid recovery. Let time pass, doing what you need to do to stay sober. Work your program. Don't just show up and listen. Commit to it. Encourage your friends and family to join Al-Anon, but realize you can't make them any more than they could make you go to AA or NA. And eventually, your reputation, just like it preceded you the last time when you were using, will precede you. And people will know that you are good, you are solid, you are safe, you are honest, you have integrity, kindness, compassion, empathy, solid character, independence, sobriety. And because you were such in a down place, when you truly do rise from the ashes, their connection to you may be even that much more profound if you give them the appropriate time, space, empathy, and respect, and just focus on your recovery. Because they will be so grateful they nearly lost you and so proud of the distance you've come. You're number one. Stop focusing on them. Stop trying to regain their approval. Focus on your program. Whatever your program, just stay sober and grow as an individual in that sobriety. Allow time to pass. That's all you need to do is you. Just focus on you and staying sober, and the rest will naturally work itself out. Especially if you are in, say, AA or NA and you work the steps. That will advance your self-development. Steps like making amends and things will advance the forgiveness and understanding of others. So it's your chance. both to re-obtain sobriety, re-obtain your life, and re-obtain the love, support, trust, admiration of those around you. All you gotta do is take care of yourself, take care of your program, stay sober, and do what you're supposed to do one day at a time. This was long, a little rambly, a little repetitive. I had a point and I just kind of went off the rails with it. Hopefully this helps you. Good morning, goodbye, have a good day. One day at a time. Stay sober today and tomorrow. Maybe they'll come around. If not tomorrow, eventually. Have a good day. Love you guys. And that's what I got. Good morning. Goodbye.